bit about redoing the kitchen a couple months ago. So the kitchen is mostly done at this point, and so I actually feel comfortable showing you all what it looks like. But today we are making dumplings, and I know I was folding the dumplings in an earlier live. That was just to because I needed to do it. But now we have a pretty big party coming in tomorrow. Just a bunch of friends coming over for game night, having dinner, and making dumplings is one of the things that our family does to welcome people to our home. So I just wanted to show you all the process that I go through making these dumplings. These are with ingredients that pretty much all of them you can just get from Trader Joe's. Some of them are not specifically from Trader Joe's, but you can get something equivalent there. So you don't need access to like an Asian supermarket. You don't need, authentically sourced ingredients. They might taste better, but I've gotten pretty good results from just what I've gotten from any grocery store. So I'm gonna walk you all through the process. It's really simple, and this is not intended to be a cooking channel, so I'm not here to be showing off my chef skills or anything like that. This is purely just as I'm prepping food, I wanted to invite you all to join me in doing that. So what I'm starting with, basically I'm making a really simple filling. It's just going to be pork. So I'm just using ground pork from Trader Joe's like I talked about, and shredded carrots. So you could pretty much add any veggies you want to this. I've done like green onions, I've done shredded cabbage, or a blend of shredded cabbage and carrots. But I'm just using carrots today, and I'm gonna chop these up a little bit finer than they already are. These are gonna be a little bit long if I were to just use them that way. So I'm gonna fold this down a little bit so you all can see what I'm doing. I mean, like I said, this is not a cooking channel, so I'll be using the wrong knives, and I'm not gonna be using good cutting technique, and it's gonna be great because this is really just anybody can do it, It's not just a chef or a special skilled chef who has to do this. This can literally be you making this tomorrow night if you just buy the ingredients. So, like I said, don't at me in the comments if this is the wrong kind of knife to be using, all that stuff. That is not what I'm paying attention to, and that is not the purpose of this live. So I've got these out, and I'll talk through some of the seasonings that we have. Got a good amount of seasonings here in the background. I'll show you those real quick. Right, we're gonna be using all of that. So for those of you who missed the beginning of the live, I am chopping carrots because I am making dumpling filling. I know a couple months ago I was folding dumplings, and this is the step that goes before that when I am making the filling itself. And I was saying, this is intended to be a really simple recipe that you could do with any grocery store that is going to have the ingredients that you need to make this filling. This is not exactly a secret family recipe or anything like this. I just picked this up watching my grandma make these when I was a little kid, watching my mom make these when I was a little bit older, and so eventually picked up some of it on my own, did a few tweaks. I don't have a lot of, I don't have specific measurements for you all, but you can definitely follow along and be able to tell what I'm doing, because this is intended to be simple. It is a somewhat time-consuming process to fold them, but the actual ingredients are not that complicated, don't take a lot of prep. This is probably the toughest part of it, just trying to do this without making a huge mess. As you all will probably imagine, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the chat very well. I will try to get to those at some point if you all chat some. I hope my wife is not watching. I'll just have to clean it up before she comes downstairs. So yeah, we might be a bit heavy on carrot right now, but that's okay. I wonder what my friends will think, because they're coming over for dinner tomorrow if they see I was putting all the prep on video. So that's what we got. gonna season a little bit as we go. So this is just some salt, and this is white pepper. This might be the most exotic ingredient, you might say. It's not all that special. It's pretty much just pepper. What it says is white pepper is the result of a process which includes the elimination of the outer shell of a mature peppercorn, giving this pepper a more refined flavor and more discreet appearance for delicate sauces. I don't know. It's used in Chinese cooking a good bit, so that's what we're tossing in. Gonna grab a fork to mix this up, and I'll be right back. So again, for all of you who are just tuning in, this is not a cooking channel. This is not intended to show you the right way to do things. This is the at-home, home cooking way to do things. So this is intended to be simple. This is not intended to show off any culinary abilities that I may or may not have. So, putting in the ground pork now. Yeah, Kitty is always on me whenever I'm cooking. I'm not going to put him on the counter because that's not going to be very sanitary. But depending on how good my phone mic is, you might be able to hear him meowing in the background. He is definitely wanting to get involved, and I usually have him on lives, but it's not going to happen this time. I look like a Biden voter. That's a lot to assume from a cooking video. Alright, so I've got 2 pounds of ground pork here. This is probably going to be enough to fill up 2 full packs of dumpling skins. I usually either have some skins left over or some filling left over. If I have filling left over, that's not a big deal because I can always just make that into meatballs and then you can fry those up and those taste really good. When I have leftover skins, that's what I don't know as much what to do with those. So, yep, you guys can see that all right. So I'm just mashing that up a little bit, and we're gonna get some seasoning in there soon. This is a relatively smaller bowl because the bigger bowl is holding something else that's being prepped for tomorrow's dinner. But you'll see, this is a simple recipe, just carrots and ground pork and some seasoning that I'll walk you all through here in a second. I'm gonna need to get a spoon for our garlic. Trust me, it starts looking better soon. So this is just minced garlic. Again, this is a Trader Joe's product. So nothing, you know, particularly special or unique, but you want to put this in there for the fragrance, for the flavor. And then I'm gonna put in some salt. Again, white pepper, for those of you who missed it earlier, this is probably the most exotic ingredient here. The flavor is just a little bit different from black pepper, but it does add some really good flavor. So I'm gonna mix all of the dry seasoning up first, season again after I get some of this more mixed completely. And like I said, during this I'm focusing mostly on the prep, so I'm not paying as much attention to any comments or any conversation that you all are having. So I'm, just yeah, I'm trying to get back into the swings. Did a lot in May for Mental Health Month. Took June off a little bit. Just did a couple of videos, and in July really trying to get back into it. And this is kind of a change of pace for me too. So, all right, that's mixed up a little bit. What we're gonna do is gonna add some salt again. White pepper. And again, this is not some secret recipe. This is pretty similar to probably what you get. This is probably actually under seasoned compared to what you would get at like a restaurant or something. But here we go. This is kind of what gives it the distinctive flavor. Sesame oil is what I use in a lot of my cooking for when I'm doing Chinese dishes. So what I hate is right now is that our technology is not at the point where you can smell what I'm streaming, which usually would probably be a good thing. But the sesame oil is super fragrant, and the way that I know that it's ready is when I can really start smelling the fragrance of the sesame oil kind of permeating through all of the meat. Jelly Bean, hey, welcome to the live stream. So I've got soy sauce here. Like I said, nothing amazing in terms of ingredient wise. These are all things that you can get from Trader Joe's, and so you can absolutely make your own dumplings. The only problem is like having the skins. You wouldn't be able to get the skins from Trader Joe's. That is somewhat unique. I've also got rice vinegar that adds just a little bit of, I don't know, not kick because it's not spicy, but just kind of a more unique flavor profile with the rice vinegar. And really, with that, that's it. All I'll do now is mix it up and continue kind of fine-tuning it by smell. So this is the part where it's a little bit of an acquired flavor, because obviously I'm not going to be tasting raw ground pork to see whether it's seasoned correctly. Just getting familiar with how it's supposed to smell when it's seasoned properly is the way that I've been able to figure it out. So that means that sometimes my seasoning is going to be a little inconsistent, but I'm also looking for the color. I don't know how well that goes through with this camera. Oh, wow. Jelly Bean says they tried to make the dough themselves. I know my grandma used to do that, and she spent just all day, like we would leave for school, and she was starting to make the dough from scratch, just like flour and water and whatever else she put in, and then she would roll it out, because you got to get these really thin, round discs of dough in order to make dumplings, and that is really time consuming. That is not what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using fillings that I bought from a store. So that's been defrosting in the refrigerator. You can store those for months on end when they're frozen. So the color still doesn't look quite right to me. It's still a little pink. I'm looking for maybe like a darker, more brown color, and that's from the sesame oil and the soy sauce. Giving it a sniff too, yeah. I still need a little more soy sauce for the flavor. Bet my grandma tasted it raw. She might have. You know, my grandma didn't mess around. So adding more sesame oil, adding more soy sauce. And again, I'm mostly using my sense of smell to get a sense of whether it is seasoned well enough. Because both the soy sauce and the sesame oil have very distinct smells, and when that becomes the most consistent, I guess flavor is the best way I can describe it. When that becomes the most consistent flavor across what I'm smelling, that's when I know I'm done. So again, yeah, I don't know how well the colors and the variation shows through across the phone camera, but it is starting to get a little bit darker. It's less pink. Might still need some more soy sauce. I want to make sure that it's mixed well before I add more, so I'm not just having all the sauce pool at the bottom. The consistency also, it'll get like, you'll see that it kind of sticks together a little more than when it started. So I'm gonna add some more garlic now. Add some sesame oil. Sorry, just keeping up with some of the comments. Somebody's being a little snarky about having a bigger mixing bowl in the background. Yep. So this is just like adding the seasoning and mixing it up. And so this is going to marinate overnight, and the flavor is really going to sink into that ground pork and the carrots. And then when we fold it tomorrow and cook it, it is going to taste amazing. And so, like, just culturally, this was a huge thing for our family growing up. Having different members of the family come together to fold the dumplings, or just being together while someone was folding the dumplings and having conversations and talking, things like that. So those are some good memories from me growing up, absolutely, and eating them, of course. You know, my mom and my grandma's recipes are definitely the standard that I hold myself to, so I'm still working on trying to get that quite right. But down here, I'm in a different part of Virginia now, and so I don't have as much access to the same kinds of ingredients that they do, so that's why a lot of this stuff is from Trader Joe's. But I think I've come up with a pretty passable imitation of what I grew up with. So things are looking pretty good, smelling pretty good here. Short story asks, what are some mistakes to avoid? Mistakes to avoid are probably like under seasoning, because like pork can be a little bit dry if it's not seasoned properly and not marinated properly. So I've had that before where I've stopped seasoning it a little too soon, and then the pork just ended up kind of dry. And you know, like everyone's kind of had maybe like pork chops or something that felt overcooked or were just dry and kind of flavorless. Definitely don't want that to happen. So the meat should still come out very flavorful, shouldn't feel dry. And that's what the marinating's about. That's what the extra seasoning and all of that is for. Yeah, other than that, like, just find a flavor profile that you like. I think definitely making sure you use sesame oil adds that kind of unique flavor to it, and the rice vinegar. But other than that, like, this is all pretty standard stuff. Oh yeah, so the skins will stick together sometimes. If you defrost them properly, which is basically like they come in this frozen pack. Here, I'll grab one to show you guys. So I got this pack out of the freezer. You can hear or see that it's frozen solid. So you see these are all individual wrappers. And this one has been defrosting in the fridge since, I want to say last night. And so it defrosts overnight, and then it just becomes like dough again. And you can see I can actually kind of peel them apart a little bit. I'm not going to open it now because I'm folding them tomorrow when people are actually coming. But defrosting it, yes, I've had them stick together. If they're not packaged properly, then yes, they can all just become one big clump. Or if they get wet somehow, that's definitely a problem. But as long as you keep it closed and just stick it in the fridge for a day or so, then yeah, it'll defrost just fine. So the final thing I'll be adding is some ginger. Again, this is stuff that you can get from Trader Joe's. This is just a block of ginger. So the way it comes in the package is these pre-cut blocks. This is frozen, so I'm gonna have to find a way to defrost it. And one of the issues since we redid the kitchen was that we don't have a microwave anymore. So that would have been my go-to. I'll figure out some way to defrost this. I think I'll just stick it in a bowl with some warm water, something like that. So just got some water here. Gonna stick maybe 2 or 3 cubes of ginger in. My wife swears that the ginger adds a unique flavor. So no, this is not carrot cake. This is dumpling filling, and I'm choosing to do shredded carrots with ground pork for the filling. So, yeah, this would actually baking it as a cake would be very interesting. So I'm just waiting for these to dissolve? Not dissolve. Melt down a little bit so I can put it into the mixture here. Someone comment below if you know a more consistent way to melt down blocks of frozen ginger. I don't have a great idea for this. So it's defrosted a little bit. This part's the work in progress. This is where I'm not a professional chef, and a professional chef would have chopped their own ginger. Maybe I'll just take a knife and try to chop it up a little bit. This is the part where this was not planned out as well, so you all can see that. Toaster oven. We're just gonna go. So you see, there's a good bit of mess here now. But I'm just gonna. Yeah, it works decently. This is not some Iron Chef or, Gordon Ramsay Hell's Kitchen type stuff. This is at home cooking, and you all just happen to be along for the ride. Yeah, that didn't turn out too bad. There we go. So the ginger adds a pretty unique flavor. You don't need too much of it, but you do want to make sure that it's mixed well throughout the entire filling, or else someone's going to get a bunch of ginger in one dumpling and it's going to be a real kick when they eat it. So I guess in terms of important tips, that's one, making sure that everything's mixed completely so that the flavor's not overwhelming in one piece and then kind of bland in another. So that should be decent. Can I put in any veggies? So yes, I've done green onions before. I've done carrots before like I'm doing today. I've done shredded cabbage, purple cabbage. Done a combination of all of those. And yeah, it's just, this is really, you can do whatever you want with it, make whatever you want with it. And as long as you season it well, it tastes pretty good. So that is the filling. It's going to sit overnight now in the fridge. So I'm going to wash up a little bit. Get a lid on this, and then just be cleaning up. So normally I'll just keep the fork in here because I'm going to use that to scoop out the filling tomorrow. That way I don't have to wash multiple forks. All right. Oh yeah, sorry, lavesh. It is ground pork. And so I'm gonna walk you all through. Yeah, so this is Trader Joe's ground pork. I got 2 packs of this, so 2 pounds total. That's gonna go in the trash. I have the shredded carrots, also from Trader Joe's. There's not a lot left in here. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Figure it out tomorrow. And we cut up those carrots, put them in the bowl, seasoned that a little bit. Then we added the ground pork, seasoned that with salt and white pepper. Then add some garlic. And then our three main seasonings were the sesame oil, soy sauce, and rice vinegar. Hey, Trader Joe's, if you want to sponsor me on this channel, please feel free to reach out. I am so down for that. We are at Trader Joe's pretty much every other day, and I am too familiar with their staff. So that's what I've got in the fridge, just cleaning up now. Now you all just get to take a look at our nice new cabinets that we put in a couple months ago. That was a big project, but I'm glad that it is done now so we can actually show off what the kitchen looks like. Letting the carrots sweat a bit and dumping the water on it. Oh, see, okay. So DJ, you are way more advanced than I am already. These are pre-washed and cut and all of that stuff, so I know if there's like extra water to sweat out. So that's something that you could probably play with yourself. I am adding a lot of liquid to the mix already, so I probably wouldn't want extra water from the carrots messing that up. So you want it to be have a consistency where it's wet enough that it can clump together, but not so it's like goopy. So that, I guess that'd just be something that you play with. So yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a professional chef. I don't know all of this stuff. This is just me showing you what I'm doing on a regular basis. Well, I will say the cleaning up is not something that I do on a regular basis. My wife and I, we split that up. So I do a lot of the cooking. She cleans up the kitchen because if I clean it up, to clean up after me anyway. So that's how we've decided to do things. All right. So yeah, just throwing this stuff in the trash now, and that's all I got going on for tonight. I hope you all are having a good time just joining me with the cooking. And so yeah, like I said, we're doing a little more with the channel over this next month and continuing on, since June was kind of a break for me. Did a bit of travel, did a bit of just going to different places. The kids have a bunch of stuff going on, so we've been busy with that. Want to make a push for membership. That was definitely something that I wanted to make sure that we could make a push on and find a way for people to support the channel. If you become a member to the channel, the link is in the description below, or I'll add it afterwards if it's not there already. But basically, all of your comments get highlighted to me on my app. So just like with this most recent video on the estranged parents, there were so many comments. There's no way I can keep up with all of those. But what the app does is it highlights my members' comments and puts them in multiple different places in the app so I can find them easily and respond to them directly. So that is more direct communication with me, as well as if you join on the higher tier of membership, I send out monthly journals. So 4 journals each month, 1 for each week, as a way of supplementing your mental health journey and as you're continuing to grow and introspect and learn more about yourself. So that's what the purpose of those journals is, and that's for the second tier of membership. So I just wanted to put a plug for that. I'm not going to guarantee that I do cooking and food videos all the time, but this was just something that was timely, and I wanted to get it live in front of you all. Just because I haven't done it in a while, and because this was something that I've grown up with, and I want to be able to share that experience with you all. So yeah, I cannot send you food, even if you're a member, so I wish I could. That would be really cool. But yeah, I'll talk to my wife, see if there are some like other kind of unique foods that we do, and maybe that's something that we could do on another live sometime. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you watching, and I guess I'll let you all know how the food turns out tomorrow. See you all.